I thought this first speaker would be fabulous to open the Sacred Sexual Music Festival because she's not only an amazing teacher, a dear friend, she's just a beautiful being with a new book out. And let me tell you more about her. Amy Culler is a relationship and intimacy coach. She's a certified therapist, a TED Talk speaker. She was amazing. Just Google Amy Culler and watch her TED Talk. And she's an international clinical trainer. She's helped more than I think 10,000 individuals and couples, through her TED Talk, through her meetings, through her individual counseling. And what she saw was a need for a solutions-based alternative to conventional talk therapy, and one that addresses intimacy challenges and supports people feeling safe in connecting. And I think she's got the ticket, folks. I highly advise you listen to her. Here's what she says. Having an intimate connection is healing. Having a coach in your corner is priceless. Everyone, please welcome my dear friend and fabulous being, Amy Culler.
Good morning. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much. And I have to say, before I speak, before I start a session, before I do anything, I sing. So it was wonderful to harmonize behind you. I was belting it out at the top of my lungs, and I know that Gila knows what I sounded like. So I'm going to take this opportunity to share my screen. Can you make it so that I can share my screen? That would be awesome. Because I'm going to talk about how to ask for your desires. So I want to be able to focus on it. Did you do it? Did you do it? Can I share yet? All participants, I just decided, oh, look. Okay, I did it. Give me just a second to figure this out. Cancel, sharing screen. Anybody? Anybody? Give me just a second to give it a shot. Sharing screen will stop other people's sound share. Do you want to continue? I'm continuing. Love you all. I'll miss you. Here we go. Oops, we're not on the right thing. How do I open it? Oh, don't you hate that? Give me a minute, people. It'll be worth it. It'll be so worth it. There we go. Welcome. I can see you, so that's awesome. And you can unmute yourself because I've used this format before. So today, I'm going to talk about how to ask for your desires. And honestly, there is no time like the present to feel alive AF, right? And there is no time. Asking for what you want and learning to speak up in life is a lifetime journey. So wherever you are on this journey, you're in the right place. I'm Amy Culler, the intimacy coach, and I am the intimacy expert. I've broken it down and made life simple, because if you can ask for something, if you can do something in your intimate life, you can do it anywhere. I'm a life coach and a therapist and all of that, but seriously, everything, how you show up in life, how you show up in the bedroom is how you show up in life. So I coach individuals and couples like athletes and teams, and it works. I bring the experience, I bring the wisdom, and I bring my heart. And when it comes to talking about desire, variety, fetishes, kinks, or what anybody wants, I use the language of pizza. I'm not kidding. And it works. So this is going to be fun, and it's going to be delicious. Are you with me? Is my sound. So stay with me, come with me. This is going to be awesome. Okay, so what do you desire? Like I said, the relationship between food and sex is unbelievable. Really, it is. Because what you desire is your appetite. What you desire is what you want, your desire in the bedroom, your desire outside of the bedroom. What do you want? And I'll tell you, nothing kills desire like those four little words. What do you want? Think about it. Food and sex are so similar. You go to the kitchen and you're like, what do you want for dinner? Worst question you can ask, because the answer that always comes is, I don't know, what do you want? And that is literally the sound of boredom. And that's how it begins. That's where we start to have a hard time asking for what we want, because you can't compromise. The reason it's so hard to ask for what you desire is because you are a kind, caring person who is more concerned about what the other person wants and thinks than what you want and think. I talk about how compromise doesn't work. Stay with me. This is fun. You're two different people, completely different people with two completely different appetites. So to think that you're going to find somebody with the exact same appetite and taste as your own, it doesn't happen. And your appetite and your taste change throughout your whole life. So the key to life and your desire is not having another partner. I know, shocking. The key to finding out what you desire is to find out what you desire, what you like, find out what you like. And the reason that compromise doesn't work is because you get with another person and you're like, this is how I described it in my book. One partner likes pepperoni pizza and the other partner likes pineapple pizza. And you're thinking, I love you. I kind of like you. I know you like this and you like, well, let's compromise and get mushroom pizza. I like mushroom pizza. You like mushroom pizza and I love you. So let's get mushroom pizza because we can both enjoy it. And then it's 2 years later and you're still having mushroom pizza. You've even forgotten what you like. You don't even ask for what you want anymore. You're just settling for mushroom pizza. And if somebody says, how's your pizza going? How's your pizza life? How's your love life? I'll often hear, fine, we're fine. And what I say is the word fine means tolerating. And you don't want to have a love life that you tolerate. You want to have a delicious love life that you truly desire, because how you feel about yourself in the bedroom and in your love life, and even if you're by yourself, is how you feel about yourself in all parts of life. What do I mean by even by yourself? What do you desire? Do you even enjoy what you're enjoying? Do you allow yourself to eat something and really enjoy it? Do you get yourself your pizza that you want, or do you eat it going, I really shouldn't be doing this? Believe me, I understand. You know, there's a conversation, you know how nobody wants to pick dinner? I don't know, what do you want? I don't know, what do you want? I don't know. The reason that nobody wants to pick dinner or plan the menu, which is why it's always left to one partner, is because we don't want to be responsible for somebody else's experience. Imagine if you're going, come on, let's go to the park. It's going to be fun. And you feel like you're dragging your partner there. And you're like, isn't this fun? Isn't this great? I'm going to make it so fun for you. Isn't it great? Isn't it great? That's why we don't want to pick dinner for each other. And that same thing happens in the bedroom with your desires, with your appetite, with your sexual desires. So how do you ask for what you want? Nobody wants to pick it, right? Sometimes you're standing in the kitchen and you've got your doors open and you're like, what should we have? Same old, same old. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm in the mood for. So you go to a restaurant and you still don't know what you're in the mood for. I swear that's why they have a chef special, because people don't know what they want. And then you even ask the waitress, like the waitress is going to know, the server is going to know what they want for what should I eat? You want somebody to make the decision for you. That's the whole point. You want somebody else to make the decision for you. So I'm going to tell you what you and every single person desires. Someone who knows what they want, which is why you have your favorite restaurant and they're like, oh, I'm going to make us something special for you. And they deliver it and it's exactly what you're like, oh, it's so good. You know, that chef, you know, that place that whatever you're going to order, it's going to have a little surprise. It's going to have a little tang in it, or it's going to be exactly what you want every time. But how do you know what that is? I say that it's interesting to me because we're more likely to give a critique of what we like and what we want to our server at a restaurant. How's your meal? It's, you know what, it's good. It could used to be a little bit hotter. Next time I'd order this. We're more likely to give feedback and know what we want to a complete and total stranger, just like we would with our server. And sometimes, maybe you know what I'm talking about, sometimes people feel that same way when it comes to enjoying their pizza or their love life. They feel like that pepperoni or that pineapple pizza with the anchovies, extra anchovies, is going to be just too much. I can't ask my partner for that. They're going to think I'm weird. They're not going to want that. They're not going to love me anymore because of that. But that server across town, she doesn't know me. She doesn't care what I put on my pizza. She wants to give it to me just like every single person wants it, just the way I like it, without shame, without judgment, without telling me I'm fat. Or I shouldn't be eating that. It is literally yours to ask for how you want it and enjoy it thoroughly because nobody's around you. So figuring out what you desire is your life's goal. And this is how I talk about it. The way to know what you desire, the way to tap in and tune into your appetite, be it sexual, be it anything, is this. The goal of your sex life is to be in touch with your sensuality. That's what makes a great sex life, is pleasure and sensuality. So how are you in touch with your sensuality? What is sensuality? Those are your 5 senses. Sight, sound, I do that wrong all the time. I was going sight, sound, smell, taste, touch. How do you know what you like? So many of us are so cut off from what we want. Well, other people don't like that. I can't wear that. Other people don't like the way I look in that. I can't eat that. Other people don't like your music. What do you like? Who are you on your own? That's what it is to know what you desire. And how do you do that? You do that by getting in touch with your wishes and your sounds and knowing what turns you on. How do you share your desires? That's the piece. How do you let somebody else know what you like? We've already established how you've told your server that your food wasn't warm enough or spicy enough. Can I get a little extra cream? Can I get some sugar to sprinkle on top? How do you ask for those little extras when you think somebody might say to you, you really don't need that extra sugar? What, you didn't like it the way I did it? It becomes a critique. Where to that server, she's the in-between. She's just here to please you. And she wants you to have it your way. And that is the goal of sharing your desires. Because wishes, desires, appetite, and intimacy long to be shared more than anything else, especially intimacy. That's the piece of us where when we share it, we feel connected. When we share ourselves, that's the whole goal of life, is to share your heart and to show up with your full desires. Like I said, even if you're on your own and you don't have a partner, you can show up in full aliveness, full appreciation, full sound, full let things excite you. That's how you know what turns you on. Now, I call my move the huddle. The huddle is the language of pleasure. And I made a note because Wendy was singing the song, Open My Heart and Soul. And that is what this sound does. There's tons of science behind it. The science is in the book, so I'm not going to go into the science, but it actually synchronizes your heart, which is the largest magnetic field in your whole body. It's your main communication tool. So it synchronizes your heart, your brain, your respiratory system, your pulse rate. All of your systems are in harmony, Mhm. And when you feel confident and in harmony with yourself, you can express what you like. So, in my TED Talk, which you're going to go watch after this festival, I talk about a chocolate. Imagine you're about to bite into a delicious chocolate and you slow down and you smell it. Mhm. That sound, that vibration and intention cues your whole body that something delicious is coming. And it cues anybody around you who can hear you. It sparks their interest. They'll go, ooh, what do they have? Ooh, that sounds good. Ooh, that's how you share your desires. Mm, mm, mm. That's how you express what sounds good. That's how you let someone know what you're in the mood for. It's an indicator of desire. The huddle is how you share your heart and your soul. It's an opening sound. So what I say to people is if they're not making that sound, they're not sharing themselves. I can't feel you. I don't know if you like it. Do you like it? I can't tell unless I can hear you, whether that's at the kitchen table or in the bedroom or in a boardroom or even right now while you're listening. Am I making sense? That sound is how I know that you're with me, that you can feel me. And even if you're going, I still know that you're with me, that you can feel me, that you're along for the ride. And that's what it is to share your desires. And even to share them with yourself. And that's where it begins. That's where I talk about, even if you're on your own or with a partner, can you share your desires with yourself? Can you express them with yourself? And these things take practice. So when you're making that huddle sound, you know what? Let's do it. I invite you to put a palm on your chest. And we're gonna 3 times. You can just hear me or do it with me or do it after, however you like. And notice if you can feel the vibration in your hand. Ready? That's it. I can feel that vibration. And a lot of times lately in the world, all kinds of people will tell me they feel numb. And I'll say, don't worry about your feelings. Put your palm on your chest and huddle. And feel the vibration. That's all we are in life is vibration and intention. So I tell people to start right there so that you can feel yourself. And when you express how you feel, that allows other people to feel you too. Imagine your server comes over to the table and they say, how are things going? And your mouth is full because they time it that way on purpose, right? So you can look at them and you go, or you go, That's an indicator of how you're desiring and if you want more. And it also indicates to the server so they can go, oh, tell me what I can get you. Is there anything more I can do to make it even better? Because your goal as a giver and your goal as a receiver is to give what that person desires. And your goal is to, as a receiver, is to start making those little adjustments in your life so that you're able to truly give yourself what you're desiring. Does that make sense? So how do you share your desires if one person's wanting, if all you're ever getting is pepperoni pizza over and over? And as I say, there's a pizza joint on every corner. The key is to find a pizza joint that's willing to work with you, that's willing to adjust their spices and seasonings to your acquired desires. And like I said, your tastes and your seasonings and your desires and your appetite will always change. So just like life, your sex life and your appetite is about growing. And growth means continually discovering what you need, what works for you in life, what you desire and what you need, and showing up for yourself and others. For example, bringing it back to food, at my age, I've suddenly have to change my diet. I can't eat everything I ate in my 20s. So even if I desired it, my tastes have changed, my needs have changed, and I need something that's going to work with me. I have to take care of my desires and my needs and be in check with them. So there may be a pizza joint on every corner, but it's my responsibility to keep my desires in check, to find a pizza joint that's going to work with me and continually grow with me to give me what I need. And I can honor what they need as well. Is that making sense? And our desires really are meant to be shared. Like I said, one of the most common questions I hear is, why can't they tell me what they want? Well, the truth is, there isn't words for that. There aren't words to say what you want, because what you want is that thing that makes you go, or, ooh. That's up to you to discover. How do you explore? People always say that they get into a relationship to explore, but they stop exploring because you get stuck eating mushroom pizza. So the way that you're exploring is to explore your huddle sounds. Because sometimes you just want that same old cheese pizza. And sometimes you have to have a lot of extra pizza to get to that point where pizza joints have gotten to where they start putting dipping sauces and dressings on them. You got to have a lot of pizza before you start spicing it up and finding all those crazy toppings for it. So as I say, keep going to the same pizza joint and working your way through their entire menu. Practice asking for what you want, letting them know what you like by going, ooh, and saying, is that a good sound or is that a bad sound? That's what we're here to find out. Exploring means exploring your huddle sounds, getting to know all those little cues that turn you on and inspire you to want more. Sound good? So it's the feedback, your instant feedback for your server. And it's your GPS. It tells you exactly where to go. You can follow those little sounds. And it gives you emotional and physical connection. So it increases your desires and gives you emotional and physical connection. We got to do another little thing because it's totally fun. And I have, lots and lots of time. I'm a very fast talker. I've had coffee. It's first thing in the morning. I'm kind of an East Coast girl. I talk fast. So put a little smile on your face because this is awesome. And I always love to say this. It's okay to fake this. Put a little fake smile on your face if you're not already smiling, and give me an and really fake it like over the top, and see if you can feel your mouth water because it activates your salivary glands, just like you're going to eat that chocolate. That's why it increases your senses. And when your salivary glands are wetting your mouth, it's activating your whole appetite system, which is part of your endocrine system, which is part of your sexual glands and your hormones. So that and saliva in general is magical stuff. It really is. And that sound is the origin of language. As a matter of fact, it's called a vocable. And vocables are sounds that don't need any definition anywhere in the world at any age. We know what means, just like we know what ouch or means. And that's our language that we use in those moments. I call it a huddle because, like I said, I coach people like athletes and teams, and it works. And a huddle is what athletes do to get themselves, to get their head, their heart, and body in the game, in it for the love of the game, as I say. And it's also what they do when they connect, drop the outside world, drop the competition. And also, They drop the language. They don't stand on the football field and say, okay, are you ready? Are you ready? I'm going to throw it really hard. They don't. I don't know. I don't play football, but they go, ha, ha. That's what they do. Those little indicator sounds are our body's true language of intensity, pleasure, connection, intimacy, feedback, desire. It lets you know what's coming. All puns are intended. Is this making sense? I can't hear you because see, I got a thumb. I love a thumbs up. All right. So temperature, mood, speed, that's exactly it. So how do you share your desires? I tell people to huddle. Whether you're doing it for yourself, indicate what you like to yourself and indicate it to your partner. So it takes practice to use these sounds. I've been practicing a long time. And I know because when I work with people and try to get people to make these sounds together, it can feel really vulnerable. That's why it works. It's like sharing a conversation of the heart without words getting in the way. Because like I say, nothing starts more arguments than words, eh? So it's that actual heart connection that you're looking to make. And it also is the indicator for your appetite. You want it spicy? Or do you want it light? It's your indicator for your mood and your desires. And the goal is to get in the mood together with somebody else. And I'm going to share with you my number one tip on that is to huddle. Stop talking. That's what makes it so awesome. This is a positive pulse. It's the double sound. It's the pulse of your heartbeat. It's got the cadence of the word amen. It's that yes sound going up your spine, telling your whole system and everybody around you that you are a yes. It's the sound of consent. And when somebody stops making that sound, you feel a vacuum. And all action stops as far as I'm concerned. You can feel it. Even if somebody's eating and they just go, and you're like, what? I want people to be able to do the same thing when they're in physical connection with each other. Because that's what it is when you stay connected to your pleasure. Sometimes you get lost in thought and you bring yourself back. Again, that's why I like this sound, because you don't have to go, what? And you can go, because it's an immediate indicator that doesn't break the mood, doesn't pull you back into words, which pulls you into your head. It keeps you in your heart and in your desire and in your saliva. Okay, so with that, I am bringing us to the next. Now I do a thing called Ask Amy Color Anything. I do it on my YouTube channel. People send me messages through my DM. They email me messages, all kinds of situations, circumstances, health and general benefit, life, how to get a job, how to close the deal, what we're engaged. Now, what do we do? And I do videos on YouTube and I answer emails, DMs, have conversations with people because my goal is to actually find solutions. And if I can help one person find a solution, even in a dialogue, I will then share my tools and help other people find those same solutions. So people can ask me anything, and they do. So I sent out a couple of things to say that I was speaking today and what questions people would have for me. So if it's okay, you can also indicate, I'm going to check out the chat here because I see there's, you guys all rock. Okay, so I'm going to share a couple of questions. And the first one was that somebody said, who sees you? I can understand that. Who sees me? So like I said, I help individuals. I work with individuals and couples, and I coach people like athletes and teams. And it works because even as an individual, your sexuality is your sensuality. Your sexuality is your life skill. It's a life skill that you want to keep getting better and better at your whole life. So even if you're single or on your own or seeing multiple people, it's still your skill to increase. And I help couples because I've created an intimacy game plan that starts with a huddle and helps people build a love life that they can both look forward to, or all look forward to, whatever you're into. And that too, people see me if they're new relationships. I've had people tell me that they feel like they just got married. People see me who've been married for 30 and 40 years and I are like finally taking off on their love life. They've just been, holding on for all this time. And I think it's amazing that they've gotten along this far without a coach and without an intimacy game plan. I see couples of all genders and nationalities, from straight to curly. During 2020, what I do when I don't know what to do and when things are crazy is I help people. So during 2020, and when I was deep into writing my book already, and so what I did was I took all the exercises in my book and I worked with couples around the world at slash prices to make sure that everything worked without me on my own, that my language made sense to people. And I was able to help countless peoples all over the world in all kinds of situations and relationships. And the language worked for them because, straight or curly, we're all here to get along. And what I find is that there's one person who's the offense, one person is a defense. One person wants physical intimacy, one person wants emotional intimacy. And when you learn to play together, you make a perfect team. Seriously, I've studied countless therapies. I'm a certified therapist, NLP, tons of practitioner and trainings and stuff. But it's people being in connection, the emotional and the physical connection. They say it takes work. I say people need to learn to play together. The thing that's missing most from relationship in life is to play together. People stop playing together. They stop being silly. They stop singing. They stop pushing each other and playing. And that's literally what I'm here to get people to do. And I come up with all kinds of moves and exercises that work for everybody to do it. One of the biggest things I hear for people is about different libidos. People come to me and they're going, well, we have different libidos. And, therapists actually call that sexual discrepancy dysfunction. And I mean, as soon as you put a label on it, I've had people come to me and say, oh, it's terrible. We have STD. And I'm like, who the heck doesn't? That means that you have a different appetite than your partner. Who doesn't? That means you're normal. So it's those labels that start to give people a difficulties. And as I say, everybody has a different appetite. How do you share your appetite? How do you make sure that this person's getting to explore their entire pizza menu and this person's getting to explore their entire pizza menu throughout their whole life? And that's why I say it's like an offense and a defense. One person likes to throw the ball. One person likes to catch the ball. You're both right. That's like, I need to throw it more. I need to catch it less. You're both right. You know exactly what you need. You are the expert in you. And I come along as a coach and I'm like, hey, try throwing it a little bit harder. Try throwing it a little bit softer. Try catching it a little bit more. And I give them tools and techniques to make it more fun to play together so that everybody knows they're going to get their thing. Get what they want. And I've got classes coming up and certifications coming up too. So I'm telling you to check them out. And I have forgot to mention in the bottom right-hand corner where it says amycolor.com. And I'm offering 50% off of my consultations for the Sacred Sexual Music Festival using SSMF through 5522. So you can get a consultation with me if you like. A consultation can change your life. One consultation, it's true. And one of the most common things that people come to me for is, how do I get in the mood? That's one of the most common questions I hear. How do I get me in the mood? How do I get them in the mood? How do I get in the mood? What does the mood even mean? That's one of the most common questions I get. I have a video. It's one of my most popular videos on my YouTube channel. You can check that out. And also later on, there's a free download on my site called How to Turn Someone On. It's information you won't find anywhere else. So I suggest you get that too. And I'm going to describe here why that is such a common question. How do you get in the mood? How do you get in the mood together? How do you get in the mood together? So like I say, athletes, We're going back to athletes, okay? The athlete gets himself in the mood while they're putting on their uniform and putting on their cleats. They're like, I'm going to go play. I'm going to go play. They're getting themselves in the mood. The other athlete is putting on their cleats and their hat and like, I'm going to get in the mood. I'm in the mood. The truth is you're in two different moods because we have different appetites. What those athletes do is they show up on the field prepared, willing to play. And they allow the game to unfold in the moment. And that's what you're doing is you're continually upping your skills so that you can unfold in the moment. They show up in two different moods with two different objectives too, because one is the offense, one is the defense. And they do that huddle. Mm-hmm. 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 And it transforms them. They can even do it differently. This is how they're indicating what game they're playing too. One person has had a long day. They're getting their head in the mood. They're going, uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. That's why I like it, because intimacy is being able to show up however you are, being able to show your truth, your authenticity. How do you actually do that with each other? Mm-hmm. That's how we do it, because there aren't words for it. How's your day, dear? Well, then you're flipping through your whole day. You're back to your lists and responsibilities, the things that take you away from connection. And when you ask that question, how was your day, dear? You're actually doing it, hoping for connection. Yet it takes us out and away because we're like, well, I did this and I did that and I did this and I did that. And it's, oh, how was your day? How are you feeling? And how are you feeling again? Can't use words for that. You have to express it straight from the heart. What was that? What was that you said? You loved it. Love it. Open my heart and soul. Mm-hmm. How are you feeling? Mm-hmm. You know, I love it. I share a story about how a woman called me one time and she's like, I was so angry. No, she said, I'm so angry. And I was like, no, you're not. She said, what do you mean telling me I'm not angry? I'm like, you're not angry. I just talked to a woman who was angry, and I had just talked to a woman who was angry. She sounded so angry. She could feel her rage through the phone. That's anger. When you say I'm angry, that's a label. She didn't sound angry, and she wasn't. She was controlling her emotions. Something made you angry. Tell me what it is that's making you angry, because that's what that thing is. You're past the emotion. I love that. So how do you get in the mood together? You're sharing your mood. That's literally all you're doing, is you're sharing what you're in the mood for together. And instead of compromising, going, okay, we'll meet them. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I see a lot of couples doing that, especially when they start working with me and they're trying to fake it. And it's okay to fake it at first, because then all of a sudden you fall into that. Mm-hmm. And then you're sharing your authentic, your open heart and soul. And that's all anybody really wants, is to feel you. Enough words, enough positions, enough rules, enough do this, then do this, enough, with the 10 things you can do to somebody. I just want to feel you. I want to feel connected. And to me, that is the score of everything. What you desire is how you connect to what you're eating, what you're listening to, where you are. So I invite you this weekend, because it's beautiful where I am. I invite you to make sounds, to let out your huddle sounds. You're walking down the street on a gorgeous day. Mm-hmm. 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 You're walking in a bad neighborhood. Uh-huh. 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 See if you can connect with your environment. See if you can connect with your partner. See if you can connect with another person by just going, mm-hmm. And I invite that too. You want to huddle? You want to connect with somebody? How do you ask for it? How do you ask? Do you literally want to go to the counter and go, I want pizza? How do you initiate for your appetite? Oh, that's one of my other big questions, right? See, I have that down here. How do you initiate? That is one of my other big questions. How do I initiate? How come somebody doesn't initiate? And I describe it like this. If somebody's not asking, I want your pizza, you feel like they don't want your pizza parlor. They feel like they might be looking at it. You don't like my pizza anymore? Is that what it is? And everybody wants to know that you want their pizza, and that you want to share their pizza with them. Do you like this? Well, it's okay with me, whatever you want. Not going to work. I want to know you want it. I want to know you desire what I'm serving. I want to know what you want. I want to give you what you want, and I want to get what I want. That's what the perfect love life is. How to love what you're giving and get what you're loving. You're in it for the love of the game. Oh, that's what I was saying, initiating. So how do you initiate? Even to initiate for connection, because you can do this with a friend. You can do this with your friends, and I do. I'll just go, and they go, Because sometimes there are no words, especially lately. I don't know about you, but I don't want to go, how are you doing? I don't want to hear it. I just want to feel you. So there you go. And anybody have any questions? I'm going to turn off.
Dear
Huh?
Amy, a few more questions came in.
Okay.
And when you were talking about really getting in touch with what you desire, does this apply to, how do we do this with children? That's one question. And then another comment was, Amy, I would love to see this taught as a basic life skill at a young age. Have you ever been invited to speak in high schools? And then someone else said, I imagine that could happen at schools in some of the most progressive communities. It would be awesome. So taking all of that, we're talking about sexuality and adults. What about children getting in touch with what they desire? Would you be able to speak on that?
Gladly. When I have, the couples I find who have the hardest time huddling together are usually those couples who have been together for a while. They've got kids. It's like the kids do that stuff. You can make noises. We don't make noises. So I'll actually tell people to have a whole meal where they're not talking and get kids to actually express what they like. And sometimes we have a habit of shutting down our kids and not giving them what they want. So it's a matter, again, of knowing your desires. Like I was saying, I can't walk around eating sugar all the time, even though I'd love to. Donuts or even cheese, which I joke about through my whole book. Cheese. But you have to know what's good for you. And that is the responsibility. So let kids move and get them to make noise. People aren't making enough noise. At a certain point, we stop making noise and sharing what sounds good, sharing desires. So that's what I would do. And no, I've never been invited to speak to kids, but over the past, I'm going to say 3 years, I've worked with mothers who've called me about their young kids who've been exposed to porn or had sexual questions or issues, and they didn't feel comfortable talking to their parents about them. And their parents reached out to me and said, can you talk to my kids? And I love that. And it's a continuing conversation where they get to call me back, or the parents call me with questions, because like I said, the more I learn, the more I can help. And that's my goal.
Beautiful, beautiful, Amy. Thank you. Would you speak? I know your backstory. I know how you got into this work and when you were married. And I wonder if you would share with everyone the beautiful, how the journey
Gladly.
unfolded for you.
Gladly. Well, I'm working backward from my book, The Huddle, How to Score in Sex and Love. And it's the relationship game changer, because in my own relationship, there were intimacy issues. And we were married, and my husband's, a busy executive, straight, man. And there's 2 avenues for support for couples with sexual issues. There's talk therapy, or there's the medical end of it, penis pumps, injections, and pills. And neither of those actually address intimacy. Intimacy is the vibe in the space between you. So people will come to me and they'll go, we have no intimacy. There's no vibe between us. We don't have any of this. And I'm like, well, if there's no vibe between you, all you have to do is put one in. And sometimes I swear I'm the only one putting it in, but puns intended. And so there were sexual health issues in my relationship, and I found myself talking to a sex therapist, and you can't talk your way to intimacy. And then we found ourselves with, erection specialists in Beverly Hills. and sitting in an office and listening to them talk about, hard-ons and injections and multiple orgasms. I'm like, they're all handing out divorces. Because intimacy is that vibe in the space between you, and none of them are addressing it. You can't talk your way to intimacy, and you can't sex your way to intimacy. So how do you actually do it? And that was the path that I set out on. I thought to myself, wouldn't it be brilliant if couples therapy was actually therapeutic? And the word therapeutic means a positive reaction for the mind, body, and soul. And I know for a fact, or from my experience rather, that most couples argue more about what came up in couples therapy than they do the real issue, which is always therapy, which is always intimacy. And I looked around me in my own relationship and I went, I'm not the only one having a sexual health issue or an intimacy issue. This is the common issue. This is it. So after my divorce, I was devastated. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to become a therapist and solve this. I'm going to find the modality that addresses this. So I went off and became a Gottman therapist, an Imago therapist, a PACT therapist. I studied erotic intelligence with Esther Perel in New York. I've been all over studying everything with the best because I was really looking for solutions. And at the same time, I was also helping people with sexual health issues. People were calling me and coming to see me from everywhere. They didn't know why. They heard about a wise woman who offered real solutions for life, sex, family, relationships, real answers. And they showed up like crazy. And I realized I was the person who had the solution. So I created it, the Intimacy Game Plan, which begins with the huddle. I'm obsessed. I am passionate and obsessed with solving it. I've solved the biggest issue in the world, how to have real emotional and intimate connection, how to actually feel connected to the people you want a connection with, how to set clear boundaries, how to know your voice, know your desires, how to show up as you really are in the moment. Fearless. It takes balls. That's why I speak in sports language. So, are you with me? Is this making sense? Thank you.
It does, Amy. And I just love even how that sounds in my body.
And it's so simple.
There's another topic I would love to bring up, and I'm wondering if you'd be willing to just touch on it. And you did mention it, was porn. It can be a fun thing, it can be a beautiful thing, and it can be a devastating and very harmful thing. Would you speak on that topic? And
gladly. I
how do you
speak
help?
about it a lot. I speak about it a lot. Again, I have the whole science in my book, the science and the structure and how many people I help with it, even kids who I've heard from and worked with who've been exposed to porn way too early. And this is the way I describe it, is they're exposed to porn before they've even held a girl's hand. So in third grade, sixth grade, high school, grown men up in their 50s will tell me that this is the truth for them. When they look at a girl and they're thinking, ooh, I like her. They're not thinking, oh, I'm going to go talk to her during lunch. They might have those thoughts, but then there's all these invasive thoughts and images, not of I'm going to go hold her hand. I can't wait to get to know her, which is what their heart desires. But their brain has been programmed to visualize bending them over and banging them. And it's hindering their ability to connect as well. This is how I'm hearing it from men and other individuals as well. It's not as much for women. I can explain that because of the way our brains are wired, there is an actual biological difference in some ways. And when I talk about gender, I talk about it as a spectrum. I talk about language as a spectrum. Did you know that there are actual languages in countries in Africa that don't have a word for purple or orange? They use the word red and blue to refer to the spectrum. So I do the same. So please honor me with that. So the way that the brain is wired, people we want more and more and more and more. That's why we used to have mint gum when I was a kid, and now there's shards of ice. Everything has to be, your senses over the top. So just like violent movies, which I can't even watch, they're so intense these days, the intensity level has to keep amping up. And it's the same with violence, and it's the same with porn, because it numbs you to that sense. So I ask people this: you're numbing yourself to violence. Do you really want to numb yourself to sex? The other thing that happens is, because they're in porn, which is missing a few very important components: a partner, pleasure, and the setup of how they actually got there and what they actually did afterwards. It actually has a violent component to it, because it's not about the connection. So for a lot of people these days who've been plugged into more porn than humans, it's hard to then plug in, if you will, I love puns, to a human, because this is violent. And then you plug into this, and how are you supposed to, it's got a violence. I don't particularly like the word rape, but it has that element to it. So suddenly you're with somebody you really like, and I can't do that to somebody I like. And before they got in relationship with said person, or before they got married to said person, they had a lot of porn in their life. That was their main relationship component. So I help people make that switch from realizing, as I talk about in my TED Talk, it's the transition from watching football and thinking that they can play football. It's a totally different game. Imagine you've been sitting alone in the dark watching football for days, and then suddenly tried playing on a team. It wouldn't go well either. So you have to actually learn those few basic moves. It's like starting with T-ball. Okay, so you're reprogramming yourself, because again, watching porn, the optic nerve is an extension of your brain. I love the science. The science is in here full of references. The optic nerve is an extension of your brain. That's your eyes. So you're literally taking in intense, on the violent side, intense images that hyper your autonomic response system. And any orgasm or ejaculation, or the finish, if you will, is a result of the autonomic nervous system, similar to how a sneeze is a result of the autonomic nervous system. It's not something you've planned or built towards. You can feel it coming, like a sneeze, and then boom, it's over and it feels good. But you have no idea what you're missing, because watching the game and going, yay, our team hit it, yay, we won, is totally different than playing the game. But interestingly enough, when you watch sports, that's why I love the sports analogy and food analogy. When you watch sports and your team wins, you get a hormonal hit, as if you've played the game and made that score yourself. So you're actually getting that hormonal reward, which is part of the confusion. So when you start to integrate action, motion, and sound, that's your practice. So that's why we start with the huddle, because it includes the whole body and the connection. And that's what it takes to have desire and a truly delicious sex and love life. When I say everybody wants a playful relationship and a hot love life that's just right for them. We all want somebody who can receive our love exactly as we give it. And the problem is, we all need help and practice receiving.
Yes.
Everybody says they're a giver. You know, people are giver and caretakers. Other people are givers and providers. Some people are givers, caretakers, providers, all of it. So it takes practice to receive. And when people say, well, I can't feel anything, again, how do I receive? How do I practice receiving? I just tell people to put their palm on their chest and go, Mhm. And when you can feel that vibration, you know that you're doing it for yourself. And that little action of going for yourself is your vibration and your intention saying, I'm okay. I'm doing this for me. So that's how you practice receiving. Super simple. Super simple. I have a lot more practices too, including being your own waitress. So when you get yourself something to drink, you go, that's good. I like it. That's really good. Thank you. And that's exactly it. Critiquing out loud, saying, I usually have a hot drink. Ooh, it's cold. I like it. So saying those things out loud, even when you're by yourself or with a partner, just saying, oh, dinner is really, oh, this dinner is really good. Because starting with something good. Next time, maybe try a little bit spicier. And I love it. Thank you. So we practice critiquing and making little adjustments in our life to keep tuned into our appetite, keep tuning in and making those little adjustments so that you're living the life that you desire in your full deliciousness. Right?
Oh, we've got a comment here, Amy. Brilliant examples and metaphors. Yes, I agree. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm the metaphor queen. I drop metaphors like bombs, baby.
But they're beautiful because helps us understand.
Well, that's it. I looked at therapy and thought therapy is trying to get the world to understand their language.
Yeah.
And it's already confusing enough to try and be in relationship with each other. We should be speaking a language that makes sense to people who need it. So that's what I've done. I joke, I've made it so easy that even an athlete can understand it.
Oops.
Right. Anybody questions? Intimacy? How long have you been together? Do you have a partner? I love hearing stuff like that. Do you have kids, partners?
Anybody?
And I'll share that I also work with, when I say straight or curly, all kinds of relationships. I recently sat on a panel out of Washington, D.C., talking about polyamory and open relationships with a whole international panel of therapists, where I was able to drop this very important nugget. I said, I think it's criminal for therapists to not know about relationships, real sexuality, polyamory, and opening relationships, because sometimes that's what it takes to keep a family together. And I talk about how we talk about the importance of family values, but legally in many cultures and countries, we're very quick to break up a family instead of finding ways to keep people connected from their heart, accepting each other and finding new ways and new boundaries to be together, because that's what we really need. And like you said, this book, the foreword to my book, is written by my former husband. And he said that had this book been around when we were still married, we might still have our family together. And that was my goal. And it has changed his life. It's changed my life, my daughter's life, just by coming up with a solution to keep families together. I couldn't be more honored to share my work with the world. Thank you.
I so love your dedication. I've known you for years. Through the dance community is first how we connected. And any thoughts? I mean, there's Hila, I see, as also a dancer, Lolly, Virio, Tamara, for sure. Yes, how dance helps you feel. Any thoughts on that? Feel your body and get into and receive?
Yeah, dance and sing is my practice. The term straight and curly. The dance and receive is my going to dance and singing is my practice. It's my practice to embody, and as I say, free the jiggle, like show up in my age, in my jiggly body, in my imperfection, and singing to just be able to just belt it out, practice. And the way that I practice, if I could get everybody to sing, I would. But the huddle, that's that basis, that's that soul sound without having to learn how to sing. It's how you let out that same. And when people ask me how I sing and how I know which note comes out next, I do it by going, I can hear.
Mm.
And I sing with Gila. I know I miss singing too. We will sing soon, my sister.
Okay, another comment, Amy. Love that you work with straight and curly. You know, I love that too.
It's a great term, hey? I get to use it.
Oh, and someone else finds it confusing, straight and curly.
Oh, well, I just mean straight couples and couples who are, or people who are straight and people who are not straight. That's what I meant by it. People who walk their line, people who do all kinds of things. There's a million solutions and a million ways to make a pizza.
We have another question here, Amy. Please talk more about polyamory while in relationship and with children.
Okay, gladly. Here's the way I did it on that panel. I'm going to give you a fast talk of what made a bunch of people go, so simple. I have simplified life, you guys. You're an athlete. Your sexuality is your life skill. It's the game you play forever. And I talk about the huddle as being your balls. Is the ball that you use for the rest of your life. In a sport, you throw the ball back and forth, back and forth. So you get in a relationship, and I call that a team. That's your team. If you have a lot of relationships, you're playing on a league. So people who are polyamorous, I ask them to I will talk to them, or they want to open their relationship, and I'll say, okay, what's going on? What is the skill? What is the move? What is the practice that you're not getting from this team? So that I can then say to this team, hey, okay, so you're doing great. You're having your games, you're connecting, you're living your intimate life to your fullest with this capacity. And this player here, or this player, or both, wants to go play on another team. So I start with a contract. You have an athlete contract of what your ideal life is. You have a team contract. That's what a relationship is. And that's what's missing from relationships and marriages. And I go deep and I do this. So you've got a contract and you have to show up for each other and learn how to show up for each other. And that's what I help people do with my intimacy game plan. What was I doing? What was your question again? Bring me back.
Oh, the question.
Something with kids.
Polyamory.
Oh, polyamory. Thank you.
While in relationship with children.
So when you want to go play with another team, I literally look and I go, okay, this person saying, I want to go play on the Olympics team, because the Olympic team is completely different than this team. What I find is most people don't know how to explore the menu, go through the seasonings with their own team. Can you explore on that? And what is it that you're going to explore this other team for? Because I will be with some relationships where I'm going to go, you know what, that person is never going to truly enjoy that. Is it okay that they go out and have that, but that pizza across town with that other person? What are the parameters of this team's boundaries? Because a relationship really is boundaries. You're building boundaries to keep your relationship, to protect your heart, your body, your energy, your team. Keep your team together. You came in it to do better. So when you want to go play with another team, those are multiple contracts, and you're changing the original contract to make sure that the whole team is understanding why we're going over here, what things you're doing over here that you aren't doing here. Why, what is this other team for? And that's how I look at it. Is it a long-term contract? Is it a short-term contract that you're going out for? And I mean, I get straight to it, so that that's the great thing about having a coach, is that it's really hard to bring up tender points between two people. That's why I really do believe everybody should have a coach. And I have people who will reach out to me and go, okay, we worked with you a year ago. We've got this question. We've got one little thing coming up, and they just pop in, and I go, well, what does this mean to you? What are the questions about this? The thing that concerns me about opening this relationship would be, the thing that I wish I could get in this relationship, but I don't want to pressure you for, is it's a phenomenal. And then people are really clear, because what I find is a lot of people are going for polyamory because they don't know how to take what they've got deep. And they're
Wow.
looking for somebody else, hoping that that person can take them deep. So sometimes as a coach, I'll go, okay, you guys, you want to be poly, we'll do this. Here's our 2-month plan or our month plan or our 3 weeks plan, because we have to prepare this team and make sure you have a solid foundation before you can go play with other teams, because that connection is what's required so that you can safely explore. As I say, care for each other so you can be dangerous together. Right? Fastball coming at you.
Oh, Amy, you are amazing. That was fabulous. I got all these comments. Lovely. Thanks. Oh, come dance with us. Woohoo. Amy Color, you've been amazing. I suggest everyone who sees this or connects with Amy's talk, call her.
Get the book. Take advantage of that SSMF at amycolor.com for 50% off a consultation. I'd love to connect with you. Thank you, Wendy. Have a wonderful festival. Everybody, live a sensual, delicious life. Mwah.
Thank you, Amy.